Welcome to Lesson 4.2, Reducing Cognitive Overload Without Slowing Down. In the last lesson, we explored decision fatigue, how repetitive cognitive demands slowly erode your clarity, judgment, and energy. Now we shift to the solution side, because if you're in a high-velocity leadership role, you don't have the luxury of slowing down dramatically. You still need to move fast, you still need to process large volumes of input, but you need to do it without burning out your decision system. This lesson is all about building a mental load management strategy that allows for high performance with less friction and more clarity. Cognitive overload isn't just caused by how much you're doing, it's about the type of thinking you're being asked to do and how often you have to switch gears. Think of it as a formula. Overload equals complexity times ambiguity times frequency. If your calendar is packed with complex, ambiguous, and fast-paced tasks, your system starts to degrade. That's why your most exhausting days often aren't the busiest. They're the ones where your brain was asked to switch tasks, think strategically, manage emotions, and hold too many variables without structure. Every choice, whether it's prioritizing a task, responding to a message, or deciding how to say no, draws from the same cognitive fuel tank. The human brain is incredible, but it wasn't built for dozens of daily switches or constant interruptions, or especially multitasking while leading people. If you don't manage your cognitive bandwidth proactively, your system becomes reaction-based instead of strategy-based. And you begin defaulting to urgency, emotional tone, or past patterns, not clarity. Reducing cognitive overload doesn't mean you're reducing your workload. It means restructuring your work so your brain isn't overloaded unnecessarily. There's a massive difference between a day with 10 random tasks, 6 meetings, and a dozen interruptions, a day with 10 well-sequenced tasks, predictable space between decisions, and fewer context switches. Same output. But in the second scenario, you mentally drag in a dramatically lower way. High performers don't just do more. They design their thinking systems better. Tactic 1, batching similar tasks. Your brain loves consistency. It hates unnecessary switching. So when you group similar decisions or actions together, like all approvals in one time block, all strategic thinking in one window, all one-on-ones in the same afternoon, you reduce cognitive drag. You don't waste energy reorienting your brain. You stay mentally in one lane and you work smarter, not harder. Everyone has a natural high clarity window during the day, usually 60 to 90-minute blocks where their brain is the freshest. For most people, that's within the first few hours after waking up, before meetings, before things start to stack up. The mistake leaders make is filling that window with reactive work like emails, Slack, or various administration tasks. Instead, protect that space for strategic thinking, decisions, and planning. Use the low energy parts of your day, like late afternoon, for approvals, check-ins, or predictable tasks. This one shift can preserve up to 30% more decision energy. Not every decision needs to be made from scratch. If you constantly revisit low impact decisions like how to prep your reports, how to respond to common requests, or how to even structure your one-on-ones, you're bleeding mental energy. Build pre-dedicated defaults for recurring choices. Example, for project updates, use a standard 3-point format. For quick approvals, decide once what thresholds need your attention. Or for scheduling, let your EA or software handle rules that you already defined. These mental macros reduce fatigue and free up bandwidth for higher leverage thinking. When you're about to make a high-stakes decision, especially one with ambiguity or trade-offs, your brain wants structure. Use a decision checklist like, what's actually being decided right now? What's the timeline? Who's affected? What would I regret not asking? Now, this sounds simple, but it moves your brain out of a reactive mode and into a strategic processing one. You'll notice fewer regrets, stronger follow-through, and clearer communication when the decision is implemented. Here's the mindset shift. Mental clarity is leadership currency. It drives your judgment. It influences how your team performs, and it affects your tone, your timing, and your vision. If you protect your calendar but not your clarity, you're still at risk. Great leaders don't just manage time, they manage how and when they think. So take a moment to reflect here. Where are you spending strategic brain power on work that doesn't need it? What kind of decisions could be batched, delegated, or pre-structured? Where could one system save you hours of mental friction per week? Identify one area you'll restructure this week to preserve clarity without losing speed. You now understand how to reduce mental load without slowing down. In the next lesson, we'll show you how to install buffer zones between decisions, short mental gaps that reset your clarity and reduce the friction of cognitive switching. This is where strategic thinking gets room to breathe, and it changes everything. I'll see you in lesson 4.3.